Hi, I'm Johanna, and this is Mendora. She speaks anyway. Welcome to the very first episode of Clean Up with Johanna. Honestly, today I'm a little nervous, I'm a little excited, but I'm also very, very ready. I'm starting this podcast because my voice has been trapped in an inner dialogue for almost my whole life. And I'm finally ready to let it be heard. I decided to do this podcast in English so I can reach as many people as possible, no matter where they live. So please be patient. Some stories are hard to tell in any language, but they deserve to be told. Yeah, I made myself some notes because I know where I wanted to go in this episode and I know what I want to talk about. So if you meet me today, you probably think she's someone who talks a lot, feels deeply, notices everything, and values good food, art, my 2 cats, and connections that really mean something. But if you got to know me a little bit deeper, you'd realized I've walked through experiences that shaped me in ways I'm only now beginning to understand. And I would say that's why I'm here. I'm not trying to be perfect or polished. I'm just trying to be honest because I understood that honesty creates freedom and connection in a way nothing else does. There's a moment from my childhood that I think explains a lot of who I am today. I must have been around 9 or 10 years. My mother's mother, lived far away, and once a year she sent me a birthday card with 5 or 10 euros inside. For other kids, it might be a nice gesture, but for me, it never did. I didn't have a warm or safe relationship with her. She was that kind of woman who looked at a child and said things like, "Are you sure? You really want to eat this mandarin? You're already fat enough." And this was someone I saw maybe once or twice a year. One year, I remember having this very clear thought. And looking back, it was probably the very first time choosing myself. I thought, when I don't take the money, I don't need to call her back. I don't have to pretend. And I don't have to be uncomfortable just to fit into a role that never felt right for me. So I told my mother, "You can take the money. I don't want it." Not because I didn't appreciate the gesture, but because my piece was worth more than 5 or 10 euros and more than the pressure to please someone who didn't make me feel safe. I never forget the reaction, how my mother looked at me in the moment. Johanna, I admire you because you can set boundaries like that. I can't. She's my mother. I don't like her either, but I still feel like I have to call her. And even as a child, hearing that felt important. Like something inside me clicked. I had this one thing, a great sense of what does and doesn't feels right for me. And I always trusted that. No matter what adults like my mother did or didn't, even when it made me look difficult, even when it meant giving something up. And I think that's still who I am today. Someone who'd rather lose 5 euros than lose herself. And now we're stepping into with you the part of the episode where I share a real life moment with you and ask you what you would have done. So here's the situation. There's this person I know, not someone I'm close to, more someone I see in group settings. We never really spend time together one-on-one, and that's completely fine. It's always been like that. There were a couple of times when the person messaged me about meeting up, which in theory is nice. But the way the message were phrased, it was always a bit similar. They would start easily and then suddenly include something like, I'm free because my partner isn't around. But I honestly don't think they realized what they were saying. But it changed how the message felt. Instead of sounding like, oh, I want to spend time with you because I value the person you are, it gives me something. It felt more like, I want company because my usual plans aren't available. Yeah. And even it wasn't in a bad way, it didn't feel good for me. It gave me this quiet, uncomfortable feeling. The kind you can't really ignore once you notice it. It made me realize I don't want to be someone's backup option, their fellow person, or someone they think of when their first choice isn't there. I want to be around people who truly value me. So, my question for you is, would you keep meeting someone who only reaches out when nobody else is available? Or would you gently distance yourself the way I chose to? Alright, time for StoryTrack. Every episode I pick one song that mirrors the mood or message of this episode. And today it's Supergirl. And here's the reason. When I was a teenager, the song helped me to get through that confusing emotional time. Music has been one of the biggest ways I've processing things, and Supergirl was one of the songs that made me feel stronger. choosing it today feels right because it took me months to build up this podcast, and to speak in front of the camera took a lot of courage, and I'm really, really proud of myself for taking this step. It feels like a full circle moment now, and I'm enjoying it 100%. Yeah. You can find this song and every song I will mention in the future in the official Mendora mood board playlist on Spotify. This was the very first episode of Clean Up with Johanna. Thank you so much for being a part of this really intense journey. I hope you guys liked it. And as I said before, I'm so happy and thankful to do this. And it's a really impressive time, but I enjoy it. And I'm looking forward for everything what's coming in future. And thank you so much. Take care and see you this Sunday for the first Black Tea Sunday episode. This is where I will discuss the more uncomfortable topics in life, yes. Bye.